Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rachak Wadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations, much love and respect to you, Akim, out there pushing this word out in truth and sincerity. Now, this lesson is going to be how to identify an Amalekite. Okay? And if you've been watching us, you should know who the Amalekites are by descendant. Okay, and those are the people that are in our land right now, claiming to be us. You know, the Ish people. Okay, and Tariq Nasheed, he had a discussion with one of them, and throughout the discussion, you can see that this person is the devil. You can see that this person is very deceptive. He's very sinister. You know, even if you read the comments, you can see people saw, right through the deception. And you can see he contradicted himself many times. He said two things out the side of his mouth. Okay? Right? He would ask him a straightforward question. He would say, he would tell him two different answers in one sentence. You understand? But the way Amalek does it, the way Amalek deceives the people is on a higher level than the rest of the Edomites. Because just like Judah is the cream of the crop of the tribes, okay, well, Amalek is the bottom of the scum amongst the tribes of Edom. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to go here, Genesis 3 and verse 1, and it says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field." Okay, which the Lord power, which Yahweh power, right? You see Lord in all caps. That word is, the name is Yahweh, had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the tree, of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And that was not actual fruit. This was dealing with philosophies. Okay, the serpent was holding into a particular philosophy that was very wicked. Okay, had to do with evil. Okay, and ultimately, Eve took hold of that fruit, that knowledge. Okay, which that's what it means. She consumed that knowledge and she brought it to Adam, because the serpent made it seem like if it was good for her. Okay, because he didn't go to Adam because he understood that Adam was the stronger vessel. You see, these Edomites are wise in wickedness. They understand these things in wickedness. Okay, it says, but of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High has said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. And this is a deception right here. Okay, this is a deception right here. All right, because the fact is, she was gonna die. Was she necessarily gonna die right there and then? No. But eventually they ended up dying when the scripture said man was created to live forever. Okay, specifically the Israelite man. Okay, this is Genesis 3 and 5. For the Most High doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil, which that is true. Okay, their eyes will be open, and that's what makes you a true judge, a true God on the earth, is when you ultimately, understand both sides. Okay, because then you could judge both sides righteously. And that's why it said, it's mentioned how Yahweh Shai went through what we went through. And that's what makes him such a great judge, because he actually came on earth and experienced what we had to experience in the flesh. Okay, and I could get precepts on that, but I'm just going to continue going through the scriptures. Okay, it says, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And that's the thing with Esau too, because he gives you some truth, but then he mixes it in with lies, so you accept it as fact when the lie is completely throwing you away from the true fact. All right, that's why the scripture says, matter of fact, let's get this. This is 1 John 2:21. It says, I have not written unto you because ye know not the truth, but because ye know it, and that no lie is of the truth. So if you mix any lies in there, guess what? That's no longer the truth. That whole statement becomes a lie. All right? Because no lie is of the truth. And this is what Esau understands. So he'll mix truth in there, but he'll mix it in with the lies. Okay? Right? Esau understands that very well. So this is why he does what he does. You know, when he'll tell you some truth, man, he'll call himself Ish. He'll put the Ish at the end of it because he understands that he's not the people. He understands that he's not the people. So he'll put the Ish in behind that. Okay? This is Galatians 5:9. A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. Meaning, when you're baking a cake or you're baking bread and you put just a little bit of leaven in it, okay, it could just be a sprinkle. Guess what? The whole cake is going to rise because of that leaven. All right? And that becomes leavened bread. So you can't use that for the Passover because we have to eat unleavened bread. So if you put just a little bit in there, it becomes leavened. All right? Now, like I said, they'll call themselves the Ish people. They won't go much deeper than that because they understand that they're not the people. Do they ever call themselves Israelites? No, because they understand that they are not the people. Okay, right? Or they'll say Sem instead of Shem, because Shem, there's many Shemitic people, so that's why they had to switch it up and create a whole nother word that sounds like it, but it's not it. You see what I'm saying? So this is how deceptive Esau is, and in particular Amalek. He's very, very deceptive and very subtle. It says, and the serpent said unto the woman, back to Genesis 3:4, and the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die, for the Most High doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, right? I mean, it was a desirable philosophy, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired, to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Okay, so at the end of the day, they partook in that fruit, and then now the punishment was what? That they had to work, because before that, the fruits came out of the ground naturally without tilling it. Okay, and then eventually they died through that sin, because sin leads to death. Now, dealing with that, I'm going to go back and deal with that word subtle, okay, because that's a very important word. But dealing with the fact of it being good to the eyes, because when you have these false philosophies and these wayward doctrines, it's actually very pleasing to the flesh. You know, it's pleasing to the eyes, it's pleasing to the flesh. You know, whether it be being a Muslim, whether it be being in the churches, you know, they got that outward appearance. You know, the preacher's in a suit. You know, he's in a 3-piece suit. You might be wearing some nice shades. You know, he speak to you sweetly, because those churches, they're nothing more than the preachers rather, nothing more than motivational speakers. Okay, to lift up the people's spirits, but they're not teaching you the truth. They're not teaching you the truth. They're not teaching you what the Most High wants you to know. Okay, so this is Proverbs 5 and verse 3, right? It says, for the lips of a strange woman. Matter of fact, let's go up. Let's go up to verse 1. It says, my son, attend unto my wisdom, and bow thy ear to my understanding. that thou mayest regard discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge. For the lips of a strange woman drop as an honeycomb, and the strange woman is representative of philosophies, wayward philosophies. That's why it says that the elect are known as what? Virgins. Okay, that were not defiled with women, meaning what? Does it mean they didn't have sex? Well, Peter had a wife. Okay, many of the disciples had wives. Many of the people they came in with their wives into the truth. That doesn't make any sense. How would you repopulate if you don't marry and deal with women? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, it's dealing with philosophies. This is metaphoric. This is Proverbs 5:3. For the lips of a strange woman drop as an honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil, but her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Okay, and that's the same thing with these Edomites. At the end of the day, they speak very, like the woman in the Edomite is very similar. Women and Edomites are very similar in their you know, the fact that their minds is as snares and nets. But the top deceptive individual on the earth is the Amalekite, and this is what I'm getting to, because the serpent, he would have to have been an Amalekite in the spirit. Okay, I know this might be a little bit more advanced for brothers and sisters that are new, but spirits are reincarnated in the earth in their order. Okay, if they were wicked back then, guess what? They come back as somebody wicked. They're not coming back. You wouldn't be the serpent and you come back as John the Baptist in the reincarnation. No, okay, it doesn't work that way. Okay, same thing with Cain and Abel. Cain came back actually as Esau, and Abel came back as Jacob, because guess what? Both the righteous and the wicked came out of Adam. The same way the righteous and the wicked came out of Isaac, all right, which was Jacob and Esau, was the same scenario. It was a reincarnation of the same scenario in a different time. Okay? So let's deal with this word subtle, all right, or subtle. Okay, because it says that the serpent was more, and this wasn't an actual serpent, by the way. This was a man with serpent-like characteristics. Okay, it wasn't an actual snake. All right. So it says subtle. It says I warum. Okay. Subtle means prudent, crafty, subtle. Okay, because these Edomites are very, very crafty. They're very prudent in their purpose in painting their narrative. When you watch that clip dealing with Nasheed, which I might put in the description, but it's a very touchy thing, because I don't want them to remove this video because any anti-shield anything. Okay, because ultimately they were saying a lot of different words, and that's why I'm not playing that video, because they were saying a lot of words. You know, the ish word, the anti word, and we're not dealing with that on YouTube, because they also own YouTube. All right. It says crafty. It says clever at achieving one's aims by indirect and deceitful methods. And this is what they do. And their aim is to deceive you. These Edomites are always banking on your ignorance, especially those that know what's going on. They're banking on your ignorance, including vocab Malone. That's why he'll say a bunch of things. And you notice when he says it very quickly. And this, and then he does this thing where he sucks in the spit out of his mouth because he's speaking so fast. He sucks in the spit in his mouth because he speaks and this and that, because he's speaking so quickly, because he doesn't want you to harp on particular points in what he's saying, because he understands what he wants you to believe at the end of the day. See, you have to understand the devil. You have to understand your enemy. Okay? Involving the making of a decorative object. No, it's not. We're not dealing with that. All right. So that was the definition of crafty. All right. It says shrewd. It says sensible, sly, sensible. And the scriptures also say what? Thou art what? Wiser than Daniel. These Edomites are wiser than Daniel on the left-hand side, because they have all this technology. They're constantly researching things. Right? Behold, thou art. Let's go. start here. It says, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret. This is Ezekiel 28:3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. Okay, so there's nothing hidden from these Edomites, especially these elites specifically. They know where the Israelites. They know they're the Edomites. They understand the prophecies. They see. They know what's up. Okay. The thing is, they don't want you to know what's up. They don't want you to know the truth. So their whole goal is to constantly put out deception, constantly put out misinformation. And the way that Amalek puts out information, he bombards you with information. See, the Edomites, they'll tell you lies, they'll tell you misinformation, but the way Amalek does it, he actually bombards you with lies. He'll say 50 words in the matter of 10 seconds, right? And he's saying it with conviction and all these different things, banking that you're not able to catch every point that he made. But he wants you to take hold of what he wants you to take hold of. Listen, that's how I'm able to identify Amalek when they come to the camp without them saying that they're Amalekites, without them having a hat on, without them having curls in their head, without them having any of those things. I'm able to identify an Amalekite through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, through their mannerisms and the way that they speak. They're very aggressive in misinformation. They're very aggressive. They say, that's not, wait a minute, but the Arab slave trade was way worse. Oh, they did this to you, they did that. And they won't stop. Okay, they won't stop. All right? Because Amalek is the top deceiver on the earth. All right, and they're also Edomites. So don't let them tell you, oh, we're not white. We're not white. We're not white. We're Ish. We're not. Give me a break. Okay, first of all, you're not Israelites. Okay, that's just, you just converted. Okay, so-called. But then they don't take hold of the scriptures. They take the main book they deal with is the mud. You know what I'm talking about when I say the mud towel. Okay, that's the main thing they deal with, the mud towel. Okay, flip those words around. Okay, and that's a very evil, wicked book. It says, "Thou art." Matter of fact, let's do 144, Psalms 144:7. Send thine hand from above, rid me and deliver me out of great waters, from the hand of strange children, whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand is the right hand of falsehood. So listen, they'll put some truth in there, but then they'll mix it with the lies. This is the characteristics of Amalek, and Esau does that too, but Amalek does that on a very high level. Just go listen to this thing with Tariq, okay? And when he speaks to this guy, and listen to how he's trying to bombard him with misinfo, okay? But the thing is this, that Tariq knows different things about history, so he can't bombard him in the way that he could bombard the average Jake. The average Jake wouldn't know some of the things he's talking about, but he can't bombard Tariq. See, so when you catch him on something, so they move the goalpost to another place. The same thing Vocab does, which proves that he's an Amalekite. Okay, the same thing he does, because he's always banking on your ignorance. He's always hoping you don't know so that he can just bombard you with misinformation. All right. Now let's get Ecclesiasticus. As a matter of fact, let's start from 10. Ecclesiasticus 12 and verse 10. And it reads, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness." Okay? Iron always rusts, and the wickedness of Esau, Edom, always comes to the forefront. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place like Haman, which Haman was an Amalekite, by the way. Haman was Amalek. That's the top enemy. Esau's the top enemy as a nation, but then you got amongst the nation, Amalek is the worst of the worst. Like I said, the scum. neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? Because he's a serpent. He goes back to the garden. This is the same man that was described as a serpent in the garden. Very subtle, very crafty. So one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled there with him in his sins, who will pity? For a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips. Oh, I love you. Oh, we are a part of the civil rights movement and all this. Okay, right? But what was he doing in the civil rights? Because he mentioned, nobody fought for the civil rights like the ish. Well, what was the whole thing of the civil rights? What happened after that whole? Because they said he's correct. They did set up MLK. Okay, they did set up MLK, the Rothschilds in them, right? But what was the purpose of them setting him up? Was the purpose to make the so-called black community built up? No, the purpose is for what you see now. Okay, you don't own any businesses. Okay, you barely. Okay, it's Esau that controls all the jobs and the bus stations, the taxi stands, and all these different things, which you owned prior to that. You had a lot more money in your community prior to that. And what else did they do? They infiltrated with what? Gloria Steinem in the feminism movement. And what did they do? That helped to separate the family. And then they came with the whole welfare scenario, and that further separated the family and took the man out of the house. And when they had the man out of the house, the women were through, and the family was through, and the community was through. So did that help you? No, that was not to help you. That was to further destroy you. But you see how Esau operates is he'll feed you a whole bunch of poison, and then he'll give you a cookie at the end, and then you'll tell him, yo, wait a minute, you poisoned me. But then he'll look and say, wait, remember when I gave you the cookie? You don't remember? I gave you that cookie one time. You don't remember? The cookie. Okay, don't forget I gave you the cookie. Never forget that. That's how Esau operates, man. He's very crafty and very subtle. So that's why I'm saying you have to understand how to identify these things. Because Jake is lost. Jake is completely lost. So Esau can say whatever, and they think Esau's a good guy. No. Esau is not for you. Okay, go look at what Donald Sterling said. That's how these Amalekites and these Edomites in general truly feel about you. Okay? Don't get it twisted. All right? Don't get it twisted. Let's get Psalms, the 83rd chapter. Let's get Psalms, the 83rd chapter. This is Psalms 83. In verse 1, it says, keep not thou silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty, there goes that word crafty, going back to subtle, right? Crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Who does it start with? The tabernacles of Edom, the Edomites, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon, and Amalek. See, Amalek is already amongst Edom. Why did it mention Amalek twice? Because Amalek is the worst of the worst, the top enemy. The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, Assur also is joined with them. They have holpen the children of Lot, Salah. So as you can clearly see, okay, Amalek is Edom is mentioned, and then Amalek is mentioned again, showing you how much of an enemy the Amalekites are. And Haman was an Amalekite. I'm gonna say it again. Haman was an Amalekite. And what was Haman? Where was Haman tied to? He was tied to the Macedonians, which were Amalekites. Okay, those were Amalekites. That's why he said he was the son of Agag, which was a generic term for the kings of Amalek. Okay? Now, who else was a Macedonian? The father of Alexander the Greek. He was known as what? Philip the Macedonian. So that's showing you right there that how those Amalekites and those Edomites in general looked, their physical appearance. Okay, so-called white people. Okay, so listen, man, the truth is coming out, and there's nothing that they can do against the truth. Okay, they can only help the truth, even if they don't want to. This is Numbers 24 and verse, I'll start at 17. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel. And that's speaking of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, our Lord. And shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Sheth. And Edom shall be a possession. Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies. And Israel shall do valiantly. Out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion, and shall destroy him that remaineth of the city. Right? And it said Edom shall be a possession, right? And Seir shall be a possession. What does that mean? That means that Judah, the tribe of Judah, is going to take over the land of Edom. We're going to extend the land of Israel. Okay? Because what is Esau going to be doing? He's going to be in slavery amongst all the other nations. Excuse me. He's going to be in slavery amongst all these other nations. We're going to be trading them the same way you trade a pair of shoes. Okay? That's what's getting ready to come. Read Joel, the 3rd chapter. All right? Out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion, and shall destroy him that remaineth of the city. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek. See, he already mentioned Edom, right? But then he singles out Amalek. Okay? Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. That's the end of Amalek. Okay? The end of Amalek is to perish forever, going back to Obadiah 1 and 18. All right? Obadiah 1 and 10. Okay? That is the top hated people on the earth in the eyes of the Most High. Forget about the eyes of the people, the eyes of the Most High. Okay? So, hey, at the end of the day, the Lord said what? Oh, matter of fact. Heavenly Father said it out of his own mouth. The Lord doesn't hate a particular people. Oh yeah, well, let's read this. This is Exodus 17 and verse 16. It says, for he said, because Yahweh hath sworn that Yahweh will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. That's a perpetual war right there. That's a perpetual war. That's why when you read Malachi, the 1st chapter, it says what? The people in whom the Lord hath indignation forever. Because he created them to be hated. He created them to be the wicked. And that's why they say things that are so hateful. It just boils your blood, the things that they say. Because that's how they are. That's how the Lord created them to be. First of all, they're the most hateful in the earth. But the hypocrisy and the lies and the deception and the wickedness and the bloodshed. Okay? And we're coming to the end of this wickedness and this madness, because the Lord is getting ready to come back. And before he does, he's going to expose them more and more. So with that, Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. And I'll say shalom.